Hi, welcome back. So my time for my review for the Formula 2 Austrian Sprint Race. So they had a moment of silence before the race for Delano van 't Hoff, who tragically passed away in the FRECA Formula Regional European Series race at Spa-Francorchamps earlier today. Obviously incredibly tragic, incredibly sad whenever that happens. So, I mean, there's not really any other way you can move on for that. But the race started with Crawford on pole alongside Deruvula on the front row. There was a real mix of strategies at the start. Most cars were on wet tires, but some did decide to start on the soft tires. There was a two-lap formation lap behind the safety car, and then we had a standing start. The track was not that wet, but there were still some wet patches around the track. So Nissany, I believe, switched to start softs right at the start. Lap 1 at the very start was a very terrible start for Doohan, who dropped like 10 positions at the start, and Crawford stays in first. Leclerc's P2 and Pourchaire was P3. Leclerc then passes Crawford at turn 4 for the lead. Good move there by Leclerc. And Doohan kind of ran through the gravel to make his opening lap even worse. He did continue in the race though. Lap 2, Deruvula crashed out, and we get the safety car comes out, and it turns out he just kind of oversteered into the gravel at about, I think, turn 8 it was where he crashed. Vesti pits for dry tires, and many others do as well, including Pourchaire. Lap 4, the safety car ends, and Verschoor crashes right away at turn 1, just puts too much power down. He was on the wet tires coming out of turn 1, and it looks like he tried to accelerate while on the curb, which is generally never a great idea, but he crashes and we get a safety car right away. And pretty much all of the remaining cars then switch to dry tires at this point. Pourchaire and Behrman are then noted for an unsafe release, so Pourchaire's car basically left the pit and prevented the pit box and prevented Behrman from going into the pit. So that was under investigation. Lap 7, the safety car was in. Lap 8, there was 3 wide going at turn 3, and there was a bit of contact for Fittipaldi, but no harm done there at this point. Lap 10, Behrman overtook Hauger at turn 3 for P10, so Behrman was showing really good pace, and he was moving his way up the field. Lap 12, Behrman overtook Fittipaldi at turn 3 for P9, and then lap 13, Novalak overtook Hager for P4 at turn 6. Fittipaldi and Miney at this point were noted for causing collision, I'm guessing from the earlier incident right after the safety car. And then, let's see, lap 14, Martins then overtakes Quadil at turn 3 for P2. Then lap 15, 4 cars were noted for safety car infringement. It seems like there was a lot of issues behind the safety car today. Lap 17, very close racing between Novalak and Correa, and at this point, Behrman was up to 8th place. Lap 18, Novalak passes Hager, or Novalak and Hager both pass Correa at turn 3, so really good move by both of them. Novalak up into the podium positions. Then Fittipaldi crashes on the run from turn 3 to 4, and this brings out the virtual safety car. And this was almost pretty much entirely Miney's fault. He kind of ran himself off the road. He basically, going down the hill from turn 3 to turn 4, Miney kind of was drifting towards the right, and this forced Fittipaldi onto the grass, and ultimately he crashed. And he basically just didn't leave enough space for Fittipaldi. After that was dealt with, Pourchaire was given a 5-second penalty for the unsafe release from the pit stop. Lap 24, Hauger overtakes Behrman for P8 at turn 3. And lap 25, Miney goes deep and locks up at turn 3, and he loses several positions, including to championship leader Frederick Vesti. Final lap, Hauger was closing in on Doohan at turn 3, tries to go around the outside, but is really smart, and he gets the cut back, so cuts down the inside on the run down to turn 4, and is easily able to get up to P7. And as we get to the checkered flag, Crawford dutifully crosses the line to take first place in the sprint race. So let's go through the order. Crawford first, Martin second, third Hager, fourth. Novalak was disqualified. I was actually disqualified after the race. One of the benefits of doing it so late is that he was disqualified because his tire temperatures were too low. And there was a slew of other drivers who received penalties as well. So the race order the order on the road was actually quite a bit different from the final order. So that promoted Hadjar to the podium, Correa in 4th, Stanek 5th, Hauger 6th, 7th Doohan, 8th Behrman, 9th Vesti, 10th Insani, 11th Iwasa, 12th Benavides. You know, when Benavides finishes 12th in a Formula 2 race, you know a lot of stuff's happened. 13th Leclerc, 14th Pourchaire, 15th Cordial, 16th Miney, 17th Boschung, and 18th Maloney, the final driver to finish the race. So that leaves, let's see, who crashed out. So we lost Fittipaldi, Versure, and Rubila all retired from the race. I'm not going to bother going over the championship standings because it's so close to the feature race, and we know that they'll just change again in about 10-12 hours time. So thank you so much for watching. That's all for my review of the Formula 2 sprint race in Austria. It was a pretty good race, pretty interesting mix of strategies, and those who ultimately started on the dry tire at the start were those who came away with a really good result generally. So that's all, and of course I'll be reviewing the Formula 2 feature race later tonight. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.